You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay on Newstalk 980.
And welcome back to the show, Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay. We've been talking a lot about for sale by owner over the past little while. And there's a couple of things that I want to bring up. One of them is the websites that are out there right now. There's a lot of them. I mean, everywhere you go online, you always see somebody convincing you to sell through this website and everything will be good. And I was on one of those websites earlier today. It will remain nameless. And they say, pay yourself instead of an agent. All you need is a lawyer and common sense. Is that really all you need, Irv Tremblay?
Well, you're laughing, and
I think I know the answer.
That is pretty laughable because it isn't that easy. And you know, when you talk about websites, websites are in the business of not selling property. They're in the business of selling you on advertising.
Right.
And they certainly are not telling the whole story. They're telling the story so it helps them. They're only telling part of the story. Maybe they don't know the whole story, but even if they did, they really are selling you on their advertising. And to put that in perspective, they get paid as soon as you sign their contract. And they don't get paid for selling property. They just get paid when you sign a contract with the website. Now, the difference between a private website and me, there's a lot of difference, but I don't get paid anything unless I sell your property for the right price and terms. I never get paid until that happens.
Right,
In
you're
fact,
working for the client.
In fact, I don't get paid until after you get paid. Your lawyer gets paid. The taxes are paid. I get paid last. And so that's the difference. Unless I produce, I don't get paid. They don't have to produce anything. So I think that's very misleading what they say, that it is so simple. Because if it was so simple, instead of 80% or 90% or in some cases 95% of all for sale by owners failing, they actually would sell their property. And the statistics show almost anywhere in North America, 80% fail. So if they don't give you those stats. The other stat that a private website rarely will give you, and I don't know of any, is the number of people that sign up to their website and the percentage that sign up and the percentage that sell. Whereas if you phone me and say, "Oh yeah, Irv, you got this radio show and you advertise and you think you're a big time agent, what percentage of your listings sell?" I have no problem telling them that.
Sure.
It's been more than 90% for many years in any market, and often as much as 100%. The other important thing is if they ask me, what percentage of asking price to sell price do you sell properties for? Because anybody could give a property away. I will give them that number. If you ask a private site, somebody lists their house at $300,000, what's the average that those sellers get for their house? They don't give you that stat.
No.
So I'm always a little nervous when somebody's selling me something but doesn't want to give me the true goods. It makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, me too. I was on some of these sites earlier today, and I was looking around, and like you said, they don't give those statistics at all. One of the numbers that kind of shocked me, and it's very convincing when you look at it the first time. That little calculator there to calculate, the amount of money you would save without having an agent help you sell your home. They said a $300,000 house based on a 6% commission will save you $18,000 by selling without an agent. And when I see that, I think, wow, that sounds amazing.
That's absolutely true if you sell the house for the same amount of money as a top agent. And statistics, the National Association of Realtors in the United States keeps very close watch on these numbers, and they can't publish them unless they're true. The statistic is that even after paying a commission, and that commission could be 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, whatever the case may be, even after paying a commission to an agent and all the costs involved with your lawyer, with your agent, you will net 1 to 1.5% more using an agent. So think of it. You don't have to do any work. You have reduced liability. Usually it's much quicker, and you net more money. That's why people list with agents. If there was no value, I don't think I'd be in business. I don't think the MLS system would be in business. And if there was no value, why would 90% plus of all the people go through an agent? There's got to be value, or you might say, well, those people weren't very smart. There's a lot of smart people out there that hire agents. And I find people that are in business, people who have transferred a lot, most of those people don't sell their homes on their own. They actually hire an agent.
If somebody's listening right now and they're on the bubble, they're just trying to sell their home and they're, by themselves without the agent, and they're not convinced yet that they should contact you. Let's talk about the 4 problems that for sale by owners have that they don't even know they have right now.
Well, it's not only that they have problems, they have problems that can cost them money. And that's the big problem.
There should be an alert going on.
Well, sure, because those problems can cost them money. And those problems are exposure, not getting to qualified buyers, getting to bargain hunters.
Right.
Negotiation is a huge problem, and legal liability. If you go on private websites, people say, well, they don't even mention legal liability. They say you might have a lawyer. Well, you might have a lawyer, but I can tell you the lawyer usually looks after the documents after you've signed a deal, often not before. And lawyers aren't real estate agents. They do a great job reading contracts, but negotiating how the whole transaction works is not what lawyers do.
It's not their job.
No, it's not their job. So legal liability. So those things can cost you money. A top agent can solve those problems, and by solving those problems that can cost you money, therefore make you money. Let's just talk about exposure for a minute.
Please.
And before we end the show, I want to talk about exposure. Because if you were a private seller and you knew that you had this great exposure on the website, and you're going to get all these calls, and people are going to run over, and they don't want to look at your house. And most sellers, privately, never ask any probing questions. They don't ask if they're qualified. They just open the door. They don't know to who.
Come on in.
Yeah, but would they open the door if they knew that 96% of all of the people that come through that door or phone them cannot buy their house today?
96%.
96%.
That's a frightening number.
So you have 100 people going through your house, 4 could buy it.
Oh, jeez.
Well, and I don't see that on the private sites. They don't give you those numbers, and these numbers have been around for a long time. So 70% of all the people that call you have a house to sell. I run into this every day. And when I run into that, I don't run out and show the house because the people can't buy it. So you're opening up your door to all these calls. You're afraid to ask probing questions. Most private sellers don't say, have you been to the bank? What bank? Who's your lender? Do you have a house to sell? They don't ask any of those questions. They just say, come on over. And so what are your odds when you're working on 4%? And most of them would never get anywhere near 100 people through. They might get 20. Well, 4% of 20 isn't a very good number to work on.
I think you've opened a lot of eyes today, Irv.
Well, great.
Unfortunately, our time is up. Irv Tremblay, thanks so much for taking the time out. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
And by the way, all the information we've been talking about is available on Irv's website. Check it out, just a mouse click away at irvsells.ca. You've been listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay of Irv Tremblay Realty, Inc., Century 21. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Bruce.
You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay on Newstalk 980.